What's up, guys? We're here. Welcome back to the channel. So today we wanted to continue the beginner series and just talk about two things in particular. We are going to be talking about the crafting bench through the campaign because it's going to be huge, as well as the ascendancies and or labs. So let's get right into it. As soon as you get to Act 2, you're going to unlock this good old beautiful lady, Helena. She's going to allow you to get your very first hideout. Hideouts is your personally, like your own personal hideout, your own personal place that you're going to hang out with, and just where you're going to be in most of your time after you finish the campaign and when you're doing maps and all this. And you can design this any way you please. You're going to unlock a lot of different hideouts. So through here, I'm going to show you like a hideout. There's all these different hideouts that you can unlock, and then you can also go to the shop and buy them. We'll talk about the shop in a minute to kind of wrap this video up, but you could pick a hideout and start customizing it the way you want, which we'll do a whole separate video on that. If you guys want, let me know down in the description. But when you're in the campaign, you unlock Helena in Act 2. She's going to give you access to the crafting bench. Now, the crafting bench is a very complicated and in-depth piece of equipment in the game. You can do so many things with the crafting bench, but we're going to make it simple for you here through the campaign. There's two things that you want to make sure that you are focusing on when it comes to the campaign with your gear. So real quick, I'm going to make this stuff rare just so we have an option here. The two main things that you want through the campaign is resistances. We need to get these as high as we can as we're progressing through the campaign. So we take the least amount of damage from these three different types: fire, cold, and lightning. And then life. I have 1 life, but if I took off my chaos inoculation, I'd have much more life. But you want to have about 250 life per act added on top as you go through the campaign. So in the crafting bench, you're going to take a rare item. It has to be rare. Excuse me. No, it does not have to be rare. You can also do this with a magic item. Let me grab a magic item just so I can show you guys. So when it comes to crafting life and resistances on gear, you're going to notice that there's two of these main things: is prefixes and suffixes. I'm going to do a full separate in-depth video for you guys with these, but the TLDR of it is that each item can have 3 prefixes and 3 suffixes on it to a maximum. So a rare item can have 3 of each. A magic item can have 1 of each. So when you are crafting something on here, you can hold Alt and it'll tell you prefix modifier, suffix modifier. So these boots have 2 out of the 3 prefixes it can have and 1 out of the 3 suffixes it can have. So when we go to put these on here, it'll also show you like what you can't craft and what you can craft. And this is mainly based on what recipes you have found through the campaign and then what resources you have to actually use these. So for example, I want to craft life on here. I'm going to select life and then I'm going to hit craft. It's going to cost me 1 orb of alteration to do this. So I'll cast it, and now you see that I have plus 23 life on the boots. So as you're going through the campaign, you want to craft on these resistances and life. Now you can only craft on 1 craft at a time. So I can't do 2. I can't do a prefix and a suffix. I can only do 1. So if I want to add fire resistance here, we add fire resistance. And just to show you, if I wanted to add like life or let's say mana, for example, it's going to replace the fire res with the mana. So I don't want that. I want fire res. So we keep it. Boom, fire res. Same thing applies to magic items, because the magic items are going to be the early items that you're going to find. And it's really tough to start getting yellow items or getting the currency to just go ahead and upgrade these to yellow. So you're going to have a lot of blue items through the first few acts, which is okay. So on this item, you can see that the intelligence is a suffix modifier, which means we can't craft any suffix. That's why these are all redded out, because it says this item may not have another suffix mod. So we can craft a prefix mod, which we want life. So if I was to use this helmet, because this is a helmet I need, now we got intelligence and life, we're good to go. So when you're crafting, the crafting bench is amazing. As soon as you unlock it in Act 2, You'll get Helena.
Hello.
She's going to give you your very first hideout, and then you can come here, go to the crafting bench, and start crafting. And she'll give you a couple recipes, and you'll find more recipes along the way to unlock. Just to talk about recipes, recipes for a second. These are all the recipes that I still have not unlocked. They are undiscovered. So when you first start the game, there's going to be so many recipes that you don't have unlocked. But as you're progressing through the campaign, it's going to give you all the main ones that you need to help progress through the game. So don't worry about like, oh, I don't have a certain res or I don't have something. You're going to get it along the way. So you're going to unlock these really, really easy, okay? Let me go back down here and throw all these in here. So that is crafting in the crafting bench, the very basics, guys. That's all you need to know is life and resistances. Next is our labs. So the Aspirant's Plaza, which you get to in Act 3. Act 3, you're going to find this Aspirant Plaza. I'll show you what it looks like in Act 3. So in Act 3, the home base here, you are going to be completing labs along the way, and it's going to be this device here, which is the Aspirant's Plaza. To access this, you need to complete all the labs leading up to this, which is easy. You see how the first labyrinth is level 33, and it'll tell you the lower prison is where one of these mini labs are you need to complete. The crypt act level 1 act 2, the chamber of sins level 2 act 2, the crematorium, the catacombs, and the imperial gardens. You get all of these mini labs complete, and it allows you to come to the labyrinth to do your very first lab so your character can ascend. So what does your character ascend into? So this is my trickster. I started off as a shadow, and when I completed my very first lab, I ascended into a trickster. Now, just for reference here, we can come to the trickster. And when you're completing your very first lab, you're going to be able to pick between 3 different ascendancies. This is something we talked about in a previous video in the beginner series. Each one of these, you're going to be able to pick. Now, I don't want you to freak out. You can change this later. So if you do want to pick trickster and you come to find out you don't like trickster, you can change this later. Okay, you can spend respect points to change this to a different ascendancy of your choice in the class of shadow. So you can pick anyone that you want, and each time you complete a lab, you're going to get 2 points. You get a maximum of 8 points to put into your ascended character at each stage. So this is 2 points, the cruel lab is 2 points, the merciless lab is 2 points, and then the eternal lab is 2 points. That is what makes you to 8 total points in here, which you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again, all of these points that you take in here can also be changed with respec points. You are not set in or locked in at all. So if I didn't want 1 step ahead and I wanted Swift Killer, I could just take these 2 points off and put these 2 points in. The difference is instead of 1 respec point on your passive tree costing you 1, these cost, I believe, 5 or 4 a piece instead. So that is the main difference, but you can still respec. You are not locked in. So the lab is very straightforward. You just want to go through absolutely everything. I will show you real quick kind of how the lab looks and works when you first get in here. So this very first one, I want to show you the path. So you're going to come up to this bronze inscription. You talk to this. And what we want to do is we want to look for the very next room. And I just want to show you how this looks. Now we're just going to blast through this. Now, the thing about doing labs, guys, is you only have 1 life. If you die, you have to start over. Okay, you have to start over. So if you die, you got to start all over. So just be careful. I would recommend having multiple life flasks when you come to do this in Act 3. And where is this thing? And just take your time. Do not rush it too fast. Like, make sure you're going over everything, so that way you don't get all messed up when you're going through this. It looks like it's up here in this corner. Nope, that's a dead end as well. Might be down here. Nope, it looks like it's up through here. So it looks like I gotta go through this trap area. Through this. And your mini labs are gonna look similar to this. Where is the handle? There we go. The door is also locked. Where is the handle to this thing? Oh, here we go. All right. So we're going through, this is still the very first level, and we're looking for the arrow. We're looking for the arrow for the very next room. Now, this has Aspirant's Trial. When you come in here, you're going to see a labyrinth map. You can click on the current location, and as you go through this, it's going to show where you are and where you need to go. You're going to fight an aspirant 3 times in order to finish the lab so you can ascend your character. So when you're going through this, again, just kind of like go through the whole map, explore it. Just try not to die, okay, when you're going through here. Now, the very last thing that I want to talk about is the store in today's video, because this is very important. You do not have to do this, but it makes things so much easier when you're going through, and that is your stash tabs. So inside the store, you can come over here to, where is it? Stash tabs. And you have all these different stash tabs. They cost 40 up to 75 coins, if you will. And that's going to cost real money, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. It makes things so much easier. So when you come in here, you're going to add these stash tabs. The main one that you want to get for sure is a currency stash tab, a gem stash tab, a flask stash tab, as well as one quad stash tab. Outside of that, and of course, one map stash tab once you get through the game, but for the purposes of the campaign, you want a currency stash tab, you want a gem stash tab, a flask, as well as one quad stash tab. Now, what do these stash tabs look like when you actually buy them? When you come in here, you're going to go back into your character, and this will apply to any stash when you go into. So this is currently my currency stash tab, and you can see that it perfectly sorts all the items no matter what. It puts them everywhere where they need to be, so everything is perfectly organized. You have a gem tab, which sorts all the gems by colors. So if I want to look at just red gems, it'll show me. You can also search and find one that you're looking for. It just makes things so much easier. This is a quad tab. You can tell that this is a regular tab, and see how much more room there is in a quad. You get so much more room. So if you are someone who likes to look at a bunch of items, doing compare and contrast, I would definitely advise having one quad tab so you can just throw a bunch of items in from the campaign. It will slow you down, but it does make things easier when you're looking at a bunch of different items. And then of course we have our potions tab, which again sorts everything just like the gem tab does. These things are so great. And then when you're in your stash tab, you right click on this and you'll have this affinities button. You check and uncheck this. So what checking this means is that when I go to take this orb of chance and I do control left click, it's automatically going to add it to this stack. Now let's say that I did not have that on there. When I go to left click, it'll add it to this tab perfectly. Okay, but let's say I was in a different tab. If this affinity button is not clicked, if I'm in a, let's say a smite tab, all this is going to do is add it to this tab, and I do not want that. I want this to go where it needs to go. So make sure you're doing affinity, because then if I'm in a different tab, it automatically adds it to the currency tab and we're done. So make sure you get at least the basics of the currency tabs from the shop, guys. Again, they're very, very cheap. I mean, you're talking about 40, 80, 150 if you want the premium. If you don't, that's okay. And 75. So, I mean, you're talking about a couple bucks. I just bought a second one on accident. Did not mean to do that. But you can come in here and buy points. I mean, if you spend 10 bucks, you'll be able to get them all. So still very, very cheap. Well, I added a second currency tab that I do not need, which is great. We do not need this. I wish you could delete these, but you can't. So unfortunate. But yeah, accident, guys. Did not mean to do that. But yeah, so these are some extra basics, guys, to help you through the campaign. I hope this does help. If you guys have some questions about the stash tabs, about the crafting bench, at least the basics, as well as the trials to ascend your character, to give your character a huge power boost, please let me know down in the comments. Also, guys, like this video if you guys like this series. It kind of lets me know that you guys are enjoying this and we can continue making this for all the newer and beginner players for the game. So I really do appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, stay gaming. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.